Good morning.
Good morning, as you please, my lord. I appear on behalf of the applicant in this matter, duly assisted by Mr. Florian Birkus and Mr. Roberto Avila. As you please.
The court pleases, my lord. Good morning, my lord.
Good morning.
For the record, I'm still Hesekiel, representing the respondent in this matter, duly assisted by Mr. Marondeze and Mr. Philemon Yao.
Yeah.
As you please, my lord. Mr. Birkus will continue leading the witness.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Bieko.
As it please the court, my lord. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Hatuikulipi.
Morning.
How are you today?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
Good morning, Mr.
Good morning, my lord.
Now, Mr. Hatuikulipi, you must just please speak a bit up for us so that we can all hear you in court.
Okay, my lord.
Now, yesterday, before we ended the proceedings, you testified on a number of emails in terms of which you testified that basically, in essence, establishes that you did consultancy work for Samherji.
That's correct, my lord.
Now, do you still have your bundle there with you?
Yes, it's with me, my lord.
I'm not sure, Mr. Bieko, if you inquired. I see your client, whenever he speaks, he gets close to the mic. It might be an inconvenience for him. If it's able to catch his voice wherever he's standing, then I think it will be fair for him if he just stands upright and he just says without leaning into the microphone.
Thank you, my lord.
My lord, we don't know, is there an NBC mic or court mic?
I also don't know. I was going to leave it upon yourself to inquire, because wherever it was, as long as it can catch his voice, then it's fine. All that I wanted to advise was to say it appears it might be an inconvenience for him to keep on doing this all the time. Okay, you may proceed.
Okay, then, Mr. Hatuikulipi, for the court's advice, it would then be best if you just stand up straight when you give your testimony. The recording does not pick up, then they will let us know. But you can just speak up then.
Okay, my lord.
Okay. Mr. Hatuikulipi, can you please go to number 19 under the bundle of documents? You already took us through the first 3 emails. Are you there? The last email that we went through is the Angolan prices, the one written on top, Angolan prices.
Yes, my lord.
And before your closing of your testimony yesterday, you explained basically the prices and the purpose of this email.
That's correct, my lord.
Now, if you turn the page, let's go to the next email. Must be written on top, Kasumbalesa status. Are you there?
Yes, I'm there, my lord.
My lord, is your lordship also at the correct page? Yes, please, the court. What is this document, Mr. Hatuikulipi? Please identify for us.
My lord, there's an email from Johannes Stephenson to beyond@globallog.com, to Jackie Tiad and myself, dated the 16th February 2016.
Okay, this email reads, Dear Bjorn, I trust you are well. My colleague Jackie went to Kasambalesa yesterday and today, and what we saw was not what you have told us. You have 7 containers next to our big client, so there can be no different scene photos. I don't want us to focus on this entire email, but can you basically tell us what was the matter relating to Kasumbalesa?
My lord, Beyond is the owner of Global Logistics from Zambia, one of the clients that I've introduced to Semeji. So Beyond, they agreed that all the products that you will buy, they will be sent to DRC. Only few products will be sold in Zambia. So Mr. Bion ended up sending most of his loads to Zambia, next to one of the clients that I've also introduced to Semeji. So there was a fight there. The first client that I've introduced to Semeji before Global Logistics, they were not excited, they were not happy. So they were complaining that Bion, they are selling their product next to their business and it's affecting their business. And Bion, they are dropping the prices, which is affecting their business. So a complaint was laid. So I intervened to tell Johannes Stephenson. I asked him, when is he going? So that I can come with, so that we can sort out the problem.
Let me stop you then. Obviously a long email, the one, it starts here at page 1. We were just on page 1. You will see at the bottom, page 1 of 9.
Yes.
This particular document. Now, can you please go to page 4 of 9 of that document? Of that email?
Page 4.
The thread of emails, yes. Page 4 at the bottom.
Okay.
Are you there? Then there will be image 003, photo 1, photo 2. You see that?
Image.
No, it's written there, image, on top of the email. We are on the top of the email.
Yeah.
Yes. And then there's an email from Tamson Fitty. Can you please take us through that?
My Lord, there's an email from myself to Johannes Stephenson, copied Bion and Jackie Tiat, dated on the 16th of February, 2016. It says, "Hi Johannes, please let me know in advance when you are going to Zambia so that I can come with to Kasumbalesa, Zambia. Regards, Tamson."
What did Johannes reply there at the bottom?
My Lord, this is an email from Johannes Stephenson, dated 16 February 2016, to Bion, Jackie, and myself. It says, "Hi Tamson, it's better me and you do that. Regards."
So was this the trip that you're referring to that you had to go with to Zambia?
That is correct, my Lord.
And you also testified that this is a client that you obtained for some energy group of companies.
That is correct, my Lord.
Now we can skip the pages, skip page 5, and then we go to page 6. It's also part of the thread of emails. Are you there?
Yes, I'm there, my Lord.
Okay, please just identify the document for us, or part of the document. On the top,
Page 6, huh?
yes, page 6 will be Bjorn van Hofstan.
My Lord.
On top.
There's an email from Bion to Johannes Stephenson, to Jackie Tiat, and myself, dated on the 17th of February, 2016. It says, "Dear Johannes, thank you for your email, which was interesting reading. However, I can see that it is important that if you want to have a non-biasness opinion about how the fish business is going in Kasumbalesa and what is happening to the fish you are supplying, you have to go there yourself and find out the facts on the ground."
It's quite a long email. Let's just go to the last paragraph there in that email.
The last one.
Yes. on that page. I do not understand, if I may take you through, I do not understand. The situation is confusing for you as you are not being given proper and complete information about the situation on the fish market in Kasambalesa, and therefore, if you are concerned about the situation there, you better make a visit to Kasambalesa and make up your own opinion, which I, as a matter of fact, saw this morning proposed by Mr. Tamson. We will do whatever is possible to facilitate a visit by yourself and Mr. Tamson. I and Robo Logistics do enjoy the quality of your fish products, and therefore we would like to continue buying your fish for marketing in Zambia and Congo. Are you there?
I'm there, my lord.
Yes. So is this the work that you were referring to?
That's
You can
correct.
explain?
That's correct, my lord.
And if you turn 2 pages, to page 9,
I'm there, my lord.
take us through the document. Firstly, identify it for us.
My lord, there is an email from Beyond to Johannes Stephenson, Jackie Tiad, and myself, dated on the 18th of February, 2016. Good morning, Johannes. Thank you for your email. I am a new person for you, and I understand if you are suspicious. I have tried to give you a true picture of our business and operation, but it is entirely up to you if you believe what I have told you. When you and Tamson come here next week, we'll have a better chance to understand each other and see how we can proceed with the business.
Now, Mr. Hatuikulipi, yesterday you testified at length that there were different types of consulting work you performed for some Samerji group of companies. You testified that part of it was to get them clients to sell the fish, and you also said Zambia, DRC, Mozambique, if I'm not mistaken. That was the one part, am I correct?
That's correct, my lord.
And then you also testified that the other work you did was in terms of sourcing and getting the Namibian right holders to sign up with the Samerji group of companies and to sell or to conclude long-term catching agreements with them. Is that correct?
That's correct, my lord.
So these particular emails that you just took us through concerning Zambia, to which work does it relate?
My lord, to the clients that I got for Samerji that were buying large amount of fish.
Now, if you turn the page, we can now move on to a new aspect. If you turn the page, it's still part of the emails.
I'm there, my lord.
Status valuation must be written on top. Status valuation.
Yes, I'm there, my lord.
Can you please identify the document for us?
My lord, this is an email address from Johannes Stephenson to James Hatuikulipi and to myself, dated 15 August 2013. Hi, James. The status is as follows. As far as I understand, after I've heard from people in JV2 and JV7, then they do not take the valuation from the Spanish person serious. They may find it as a joke, according to their comments. Many of them have contacted me and expressed their disappointment on this valuation and why Luis Barrera is in the matter. I had meeting with Olavi, chairperson of JV7, yesterday, and they are on board. He will meet their lawyer today to give instructions. I had meeting with Virgilio, chairperson of JV2, yesterday, and they are on board. Their lawyer know their status. JV2 and 7 want to sign now after their board meeting. JV2 have their last board meeting tonight and should be ready. JV7 have their last board meeting early next week and should be ready. Outstanding issues is if they shall pay down the vessel in 5 or 8 years. Most likely it will 5 years.
And at you can then proceed from number 7 at the bottom.
If JV5 really wants to finish this, they can ignore the valuation and use the one of 230 million Namibian dollar. And it's enough to back up the price of 28 million US dollar.
Number 8, you can just take us through number 8.
There are strong rumors that some people have hidden agenda and are thinking about themselves in JV5. Talk about other than Luis Barrera and his people. Regards, Johannes.
Now, what was Mr. Stephenson alluding to in this email, from your understanding?
My Lord, as I've indicated, that I've asked James to assist me to convince the joint ventures to sign a long-term catching agreement with Semeji. So this email, Johannes is giving the status of the JVs that James had already convinced that they are still on board. JV2 is still on board, JV7 they are still on board. So everything is still in place and they are ready to conclude the catching agreement, my Lord.
He then goes on to say that there are strong rumors that some people have hidden agenda and are thinking about themselves in JV5. Do you perhaps know what he referred to?
My Lord, he's talking about other JV members in JV5. Because some members in JV5, they were also approached by other operators. So there was an infight between them. Some wanted to sign with other operators, some with Semeji. So that was the challenge that was going on there in JV5.
But you yesterday testified that JV5 then later on, through your efforts, also then signed a long-term catch agreement with Samerji group of companies.
That's correct, my Lord.
Okay. Just 1 second, my Lord. I just want to confer with my senior. Let's go to the next page, Mr. Hatuikulipi.
And there, my Lord.
Identify for us the document.
VAT number. It's an email from Johannes Stephenson to James Hatuikulipi and to myself, dated on the 19th of August, 2013. Hi, James. Is this normal that the JV5, hasn't got their things in order and registered for vet. JV2 and 7 had their things in order at least 1 year ago. Please advise.
Sorry, Mr. Piekas. Which email is that?
On top.
Yes, written page 1 of 4.
Page 1 of 4, my lord.
It's a forward meeting justice. That was the next email.
Meeting.
Oh,
The page before that one, my
oh,
lord.
yes, yes.
Yes, please, the court.
Thank you.
Now, here, Mr. Stefansson is asking, please advise concerning JV2 and JV7. Do you know whether he was advised?
My lord, James did advise Johannes Stefansson. He advised him that he spoke to JV5 and they are still putting their things in order. Once they register, they will let him know.
And if we turn the page, and we go to the next document, part of the thread of emails. On top of it must be written meeting justice. Are you there?
There, my lord.
Yes. Please identify for us the document.
My lord, there is an email address from Johannes Stefansson to myself, dated 11 August 2013. Says, "Hi James. There are a few points if you will meet justice today, and I want you to have with you. I don't know how much should be shared with him, as I don't think he's fully aware of the matters, but maybe he knows it all. There is general feeling among many people involved in the process that the sole purpose of JV5 is to damage and frustrate the process to conclude the agreement. They have showed limited good faith or several times bad faith. JV5 has approached this process to conclude the agreement with hostility and bad intention. Where is the good faith? There are people in JV5, including their lawyers, who have tried hard to derail the process and try to change some of the agreed conditions and etc.
You can stop there, and then you take us through the... Oh, firstly, before you proceed, who is justice that James had to meet that day?
My lord, Justice is one of the right holder member of JV5.
Okay, you can go then to the bottom there. They have tried very hard. They have tried very hard to poison to other JVs, and many people have put up a lot of work to keep the other two JVs on track. They are very tired to continue to clean up the mess after JV5 and some people there. Thankfully, we have managed so far, and many people in the other JVs see the bad intentions of JV5 and what they are doing, how they are trying to damage the process. And then let's turn the page, and I will ask you a few questions. Page 3 or 4.
Page
3 or 4. You can just turn to the next page.
from there, my lord.
Near the bottom, somewhere in the middle. Johannes is saying, my question is, what is the strategy and agenda from his side? He is very difficult to reach, and I have the feeling he is running away. Is he aware of the matters above and the problems? I would just like to understand the matter to be able to assist him, and so we can make a strategy for this matter. But we need to see things in a more professional way. Do you know whether James met with justice?
My lord, James met with justice that day.
And were you able to resolve these difficulties with justice and then conclude an agreement with JV5?
My lord, James managed to convince JV5 to sign a long-term catching agreement with Semeji during 2014.
Mr. Hatuikulipi, who were the people involved from your side as the consultant to try and get JV2, JV5 and JV7 to sign up with this group, Samerji group?
It's only me and James Hatuikulipi, my lord.
And how long did it approximately take for you, and what efforts did you have to do to sign them up?
My lord, as I've indicated yesterday, the two JVs, JV2 and JV7, we first convinced them in 2012 to sign a 12-month catching agreement. In 2013, we continued with the negotiation to convince them to sign for a long-term catching agreement, for which they did end of 2013, in September and October. So 2014, we continue to convince the JV5 to sign a long-term catching agreement, which they did the same year, 2014, my lord.
Thank you, Mr. Hatuikulipi. You can then turn the page. There would be a new email.
I'm there, my lord.
Please identify that for us, for the record purposes.
It's a forwarded email, Asia Fishing, Single Fishing, Joint Venture. From Johannes Stephenson to James Hatuikulipi and to myself. Dated 22 October 2013. John Peters and Olavi will meet Mr. Tunesis tomorrow at 10 o'clock to sign the agreement. Olavi has the resolution from the board. Now let's hope there will be no surprise until tomorrow.
And what was Mr. Stephenson referring to here? What agreement was supposed to be signed the next day?
My lord, it's a long-term catching agreement with Semeji, JV7 and Semeji Group.
And you say this was the agreement that you and James were striving to have concluded on behalf of Samerji with the right holders?
That's correct, my lord.
Now that's a thread of emails. It goes all the way to page 7. We can skip until page 7. And it's just lawyers talking there. Then we can go to the next email. There should be quota status Heinester.
I'm there, my lord.
Identify the document for us for record purposes.
It's an email from Johannes Stephenson to Tamson and James, dated 25th May 2014. Hi Tamson, the quota status for Heinester is as following. We have finished little bit over 17,000 ton from the 1st of January to 25th May. we could be finished with approximately 20,000 tons after the first 6 months of the year. We could finish 40,000 tons this year if needed. We have total quotas of 31,600 tons for 2014. JV2 got 11,400 tons. JV5 got 8,800 tons. JV7 got 11,400 tons. It will be very good and much appreciated to get additional 5 or 8,000 tons divided on the 3 JVs, JV2, 5, and 7. But if JV5 do not sign, then only 2 and 7. If we can, if we can have over 35,000 tons in total, then we are good. Between 36,000 tons and 40,000 tons. If JV5 will not sign and we will not get their quota, then we will have a challenge with Hynester, as it will be stopped for a few months this year. But I don't think it will happen.
And please turn the page.
And them a lot.
What does Johannes then say there to you?
Please advise what information you will need for me for this matter, and we will prepare it like the argument mentioned here above, and etc. Thank you in advance. Regards, Johannes.
And yet, Johannes is asking for your advice. Did you then eventually advise him?
My Lord, I did. I told Johannes Stephenson that he must just relax. We are still busy convincing JV5 to conclude. Since he's worried about JV5, he must just give us some time. We are working on it. So later, JV5, we managed to convince them, then they signed. Then Semeji started catching their quota of 8,800 tons that year.
Now let's quickly go back to the first page of that email. You are now on page 2 of 2, but at page 1 of 2.
1 of 2, I'm doing a lot.
Yes. We have a total quota of 31,600 tons for 2014.
I'm doing a lot.
JV2 is 11,400 tons. That's metric ton.
That's correct, my Lord.
JV5 is 8,800 and JV7 is 11,400.
That's correct, my Lord.
Now, from a business perspective, if you have these kind of quotas, how would you then sell them? Firstly, what would be the approximate price that would be paid to the JVs by Samergy? And then secondly, what would they then go about in terms of their onward selling once they have caught the fish?
My Lord, allow me to get my calculator.
Please do. Maybe Mr. Pinga will also get his one this time.
My Lord.
Sorry, Mr. Hatuikulipi, before you explain, I recall that yesterday, and before I forget, Mr. Ipinge, after you made a comment concerning the figures, said that to, in essence, issue with the metric tons and the tons that were referred to in the earlier emails. Now, I also see in this particular email, it refers to tons. Is there a difference between metric tons and tons?
My Lord, what can be caught is metric tons. Here he's talking about we have finished a little bit of 17,000 tons for the first January to May 25th. So it's metric tons that they were catching of fish.
And before you proceed to the calculation, just to come back, and the trucks that they would normally sell, the trucks of fish, would that be tons or metric tons?
No, it's tons.
Tons.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not hearing there's a difference. Is he saying it's the same thing or there's a difference between metric tons and tons?
It's the same, my Lord.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, you wanted to proceed with elaborating on that calculation for us?
My Lord, I just want to give you an example. Here, Johannes is talking about total quota of 31,600 tons allocated to these 3 JVs. I want to give, my Lord, an example. If these 3 JVs, they've agreed, that's an example, on 2,000 Namibian dollar per ton. So you take 31,600 times 2,000 Namibian dollar. It will give you 63 million. 0.2. That is for the 3 JVs. Now, if Semeji have to go sell to the clients now, it's evident from that email from Ms. Jackie that is saying 20 plus per ton is 1,150 US dollar. Can the court recall that? Can you recall that, my Lord?
You may continue.
Okay. So you take now this 31,600. You times it by 1,150 US dollar. It will give you 36.3 million US dollar. If you convert it, this 36.3 million times 15%, sorry, not 15, times 15 on the exchange rate, it will give you 500 million. 545.100. It's 500 million. So comparing what they have paid to the JVs, then they minus now their cost, what they have paid, operation cost for the vessel, and etc., all the expenses. Then let's say from this amount, they can take half of it. That is how they were making their money. So the money in fishing is at the end. It's not from the beginning. Here they buy it in Namibian dollar, but when they do trading, it's in US foreign currency. That's why you see a lot of fish, they are being exported to DRC, Angola, Zambia, because of the US dollar, my Lord.
Okay. Let me just quickly recap on that. It was quite a lot that you've said. And you can just correct me where I'm wrong. So you said the 31,600 tons, Samherji would then buy this from the JVs in terms of the catch agreements, and he would catch their fish.
That's correct, my lord.
Yes. Then they would pay them about 2,000 Namibian dollars per metric ton.
That's correct, my lord.
That $2,000 for those metric tons would then be equivalent to a 63.2 million that the Samherji companies will then pay to the JVs.
That's correct, my lord.
Now that is now in terms of the catch agreements for their quotas that they're being paid.
That's correct, my lord.
Okay. But then you now have the Samherji who caught the fish, they then have to sell this fish in the international market or to DRC. Is that correct?
You're right, my lord.
And when they sell it, they then sell it not at 2,000 for what they've bought it, but they then sell it at 1,150 USD.
That's correct, my lord.
Okay. And then what they would then approximately make from their sales is not a mere 63, but approximately a $500 million that they would make.
Correct, my lord.
Okay. So just from these 3 JVs, and that would be for 1 year that they would make that money.
That's correct, my lord.
Okay. And the payment that you received, it's been said that it's quite a lot of money that you've received. In comparison to what Samherji was making from these JVs, were your payments made for your consultancy fees, were they reasonable?
My lord, they were. This is nothing what I was paid, comparing to what they were making, my lord.
Thank you for that explanation, Mr. Hatuikulipi. Let's turn the page.
I'm there, my lord.
Says, please identify the document first. On top, it's written quota allocation 2015.
My lord, it's an email from Johannes Stephenson to Tamson Fitty myself, dated 22 December 2014. From Virgilio de Sousa to their right holders, members, and to Semeji's operation workers, Johannes Stephenson and Ingwa Peterson. Subjected quota allocation 2015. Dear all, please find attached the letter of allocation for the 2015 fishing season. Have a Merry Christmas. Regards, Virgilio de Sousa, Director, syncofishing.com.
Your letter attached, let's go and have a look at that. It turned to one page and another page. Let's go to the letter.
I'm there, my lord.
Identify it for us.
My lord, this is a quota allocation for 2015 fishing season sent to Cinco Investment 27 Pty Limited from the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources.
What does the subject matter say there? RE?
Most mackerel quota allocation for 2015 fishing season.
If I may just take you through. Therefore, the Honorable Minister has approved an allocation of 11,000 metric tons to your company and further allocated 642.82 metric tons, 5% as value addition, bringing the total allocation to 11,646 metric tons for the 2015 fishing season, commencing 1 January 2015, expiring on 31 December 2015. Now, why did Johannes forward you this quota allocation letter?
Johannes just to inform me that JV2 got 11,000 metric ton for that season, my lord.
Mr. Hatuikulipi, you yesterday testified, you and James, through your efforts, got the 3 JVs to sign long-term catch agreements until 2018. Is that correct?
That's correct, my lord.
And for those efforts, were you entitled to receive payments only for when you got them, the JVs, or was it until 2018 that you were entitled to receive payments?
Until 2018, my lord. We went into a long term.
And did this emerging group of companies paid you from, let's say, that 2014 until 2018 for your consultancy services?
They did, my lord.
And of these payments that you received, did you also pay Mr. James Hatuikulipi?
My lord, yes, I did pay him from some of the funds.
When you say you paid him, did you pay him or any of his entities?
Yes, him and his entities. You tell me where I must pay his money, my lord.
So after that particular letter, there's another document. I believe this might be the last one that I will take you through. Maybe 2 more. On top, it's just written FW. Are you there?
I'm there, my lord.
Yes, please identify it for the court.
My lord, this is an email from Johannes Stephenson to myself, dated 2nd March 2016, saying Cinco is probably going into war with us. Please get the right advices.
And did you get the right advices for Mr. Johannes Stephenson concerning Cinco that want to go into war?
My lord, we tried to. But Johannes, by the time, he has caused a lot of damage already. This thing, in 2019, it ended up in court between Cinco and the Semeji group. And a ruling was made, it was in favor of Semeji. I think my counsellor can get that judgment from e-justice, just to present it to the court.
Was that in relation to the catch agreement that they've concluded?
This dispute, my lord, there were certain things that was discussed in their board meeting, and Johannes Stephenson did not attend to them. He did not attend to that. And because of that, they even wanted to breach the contract. They decided later to go to the court during 2019. But 2016, when Mr. Ale and Ms. Arna came, they came to an agreement that they will sort it out. The contract must not be breached. So they agreed on that, so the business continued, my lord.
And this email that he sent to you was on the 2nd of March 2016.
Excuse me, my lord, repeat your question.
The email was on, that Johannes sent to you was on the 2nd of March 2016, correct?
That's correct, my lord.
And if you turn, let's go to the last page in that bundle of documents.
I'm there, my lord.
Identify that one for us, that situation quotas.
I'm there, my lord.
Please identify it.
My lord, this is an email from Johannes Stephenson to myself, dated 2nd March 2016.
So this is the second email he sent to you on that day?
Yeah, the same day, my lord.
Okay. You can proceed to read that into the record for us.
It's Cinco Fishing does not want to sign a cancellation letter. Heinast has been working on their quota as according to the long-term catching agreement. Now they don't want to sign cancellation letter for the quotas as it's finished, meaning we cannot start on the new quota, which is from Yuko Fishing, meaning Heinesta will be stopped. Please advise. Thanks. Regards, Johannes.
In March, 2nd of March 2016, Johannes again asked for your advice. Did you advise him?
On this matter, my lord,
On that email, yes.
My lord, on this matter, I did advise Johannes Stephenson.
Okay.
We managed to convince JV2, Cinco, to sign the cancellation letter to allow the quota for Yuko to be caught by Semeji, my lord. On this one, based on this one. Because this letter was sent the same date. You look at it. The other one was the dispute. Because of that dispute, the problem that they had that was caused by Johannes, they decide they're not going to cancel the letter.
They're not going to sign the...
Cancel. You see, when you are done fishing and your quota is done, there must be a letter that must come from the right holders that their fishing quota that they got has been finished now. Now, once it's done, if they got 10,000 and the whole 10,000 was caught, they have now to sign a cancellation letter that they have to submit to the ministry so that Yuko can now license the vessel for their quota to be caught. If this letter is not sent in, the vessel cannot continue to catch the quota.
Let me just recap that. I know it was quite a lot that you said now. So, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Cinco will get the quota allocated, for example, 10,000 metric tons that must be caught, the fish.
Correct, my lord.
Then that quota of 10,000 metric tons must be caught within the year.
Correct, my lord.
And once, in this instance, some herji has finished catching this fish, then they need a cancellation letter from Cinco saying that you have now caught my fish and we are cancelling it.
Correct, my lord.
Okay. And is it only then that the vessel can then go out and catch the quota of the other JV, like, for example, Ucor or Ipanga, or is it Ipangelo, the other company? Ipango.
Yes, my lord.
Yes. Is that how it works?
Correct, my lord.
So then they will catch per JV.
Correct, my lord.
Okay. Thank you. Now, Mr. Hatuikulipi, you have taken us through a string of emails. I'm not going to ask you questions on them anymore. But you recall yesterday when I asked you that the state, first I put it to you that the state is alleging that you did not perform any consultancy work and that those agreements that you concluded were just dummy agreements. Do you still have anything to comment on that?
My lord, that was the state's version in my previous bail application. They have been saying there was no work done, those were dummy agreements. Today, my lord, I brought some evidence to show that work was done for Semeji. So, my Lord, work was done for Semeji and payments were made for that purpose, my Lord. My previous bail, they also said I was paid bribes. But I don't understand. Why must I be paid bribe? I'm not the right holder. I'm not the owner of the quota. This 11,000 ton that is allocated to the right holders, it belongs to them. But the money is being paid. It's being paid to them. Their money is not being paid to me, my Lord. So they cannot be bribes. If it was bribes that was paid, what about the money that I've paid to Semeji? What do they call it? So yesterday, my Lord, I made it clear to the court, and today, that I was doing work for Semeji, and I was paid for that, my Lord. And Semeji accepted all invoices submitted to them from Erongo Clearing and Forwarding and JTH Trading, and they were paid in accordance to those agreements, my Lord. Work was performed, and payment was made. These amounts were earned lawfully in the course of normal business for services rendered, my Lord. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hatuikulipi. My Lord, if there's no objection from my learned friend for the state, we take leave to hand up the string of emails under number 19 to be marked as Exhibit B16.
The court pleases, my Lord, we do not have objections to the emails that have been where the court was taken through, but the court will realize that there are so many other emails that were not even touched, but they form part of that bundle. We will object to those being handed up. My learned friend can remove those that he didn't present to the court, and then we can accept those that way.
My Lord, we might go, if we can go through the emails together so that my learned friend can just identify which ones were not touched on. Because we have referred to all the emails. My Lord, some of the emails are thread of emails, so they might contain 4 pages. But it would not be necessary for me to have the witness testify on each and every page of a particular email. The same thing would go for the agreements, for example. When we handed up the MOU, we only touch on the first page and the second page, unless my friend, learned friend now wants to come and say, oh, you can only rely on the first and the last page and not the other 6 pages in between. Because these are threads of emails, my Lord, and they form part of one email. So for completeness sake, we certainly have to hand them up as they are, my Lord, unless you can identify which specific separate email was not dealt with, as it pleases the court.
Mr. Ipinge?
My Lord, they are emails that were not touched at all.
Of course, some were skipped in between.
Yes, that is a fact. He himself, when he was leading evidence, was skipping the emails that were written. And whether it's a thread or not, if a specific email is not touched on, then it should not go onto the record. Because then what is the relevance? It's not explained. Information has been said in there. It will not assist the court in any manner for it to be part of the record.
As you speak, are you aware of the emails that he took the witness through and those that he omitted?
Yes, my Lord. For instance, page 8 of 9. The emails between the lawyers, we refer to them as emails between the lawyers. We are talking about, if I can just...
Okay.
The specific page. Unfortunately, they are not numbered chronologically, so it's difficult.
I'm sure Mr. Bierkas is following what you are saying.
Yes.
That is to say, those emails which you did not take the witness through should not form part of the record because they were not explained or he did not comment on them. So now it's up to you. If they are of importance, then maybe you take him through. Otherwise, it appears they will serve no purpose.
My lord, they are not necessarily of importance, but to tickle my learned friend's fancy, we will deal with it briefly, my lord.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
There is another string of, as part of the string of emails, Mr. Hatuikulipi.
Page.
The heading would be Escha Fishing / Sinko Fishing Joint Venture. It's an email dated 22 October 2013. You earlier testify on it that it relates to the agreements that, the long-term agreement that would have been signed for the joint venture.
I'm there, my lord.
Are you there?
Yes.
Now, you only took us through the first part of that particular email. You see that? And at the bottom there, the email is page 1 of 7.
I'm there, my lord.
Yes. Let's quickly deal with the other 6. Sorry? Can I just quickly engage my learner friend for the sake? My lord, for the sake of brevity and obviously to curtail the proceedings, we have no issue if we can remove page 2 to 7 of that particular email. And we don't need to waste the court's time by leading further evidence on emails. So that would be the last 6 pages of that particular email.
Last 6 pages.
The last 6. The email that is, the heading would read, my lord, Escha Fishing.
Yes.
Sinko Fishing.
Yes. Joint venture.
Joint venture. So just that one page that the witness testified on. And then you can remove the 6.
So I should leave this one or I should remove it? Because this one
The first page must remain, my lord.
Yes.
Just from 2 to 7.
All right.
Yes. Is there any other email that my learned friend is taking an issue with?
My lord, forwarded the email from dated the 2nd of March 2016, titled Aquatic Nam Fishing. It's one of 3. Which starts the page on top. It's written, Sinco is probably going into war with us. That one was dealt with, but whatever follows thereafter cannot be forming part of the record.
Okay. So it should also be removed?
Until, so 2 of 3 and 3 of 3 is of no relevance to these proceedings.
Mr. Bierkas?
My Lord, I can briefly deal with it. The witness, in essence, did testify. He just didn't go into the document, but he explained the issues that they had, and that Joanna was not attending to matters that were discussed in the boardroom. But we can go through it, my Lord. No issue.
Okay.
Is there any other document that I can just deal with them at once, so that we don't deal with this in a piecemeal fashion?
My Lord, my learned friend must know what he's bringing to this court. Not for me to tell him what he didn't bring. But he can deal with that one that I have specified.
Mr. Bierkas, you'll
Yes,
proceed.
my Lord. Unfortunately, I can only react to an objection, and I didn't, and still do not agree with the objection. If you have a document, the court can decide whether it will take cognizance of it. Obviously, if we did not lead evidence on it, then the court will not necessarily consider that part. But if a document, for example, is 50 pages, no witness will testify on the entire 50 pages. So we cannot cut off 40 of the pages to say that, oh, we only testified on the first 10, so let's not hand up the complete document. For completeness sake, we must hand up complete documents to the court.
Yes.
Even if we only touch on certain aspects on a document, it's a bad objection. Even if we do not say that, okay, the page that follows, if it's 3 pages and I only want the witness to testify on 3, I cannot just hand up 1 page of a letter.
Yes, I follow what you are
Yes, but
raising.
I will deal with it, my
I'm
Lord.
just not sure whether they saw something that I'm not aware of regarding what you omitted. But it's a fair argument you are making. I thought some of the issues, if you had, you could take them up with the witness. But I think he's prepared to take us through everything that he wants to rely on.
Yes, my Lord. I understand and I respect the court's ruling. The court will realize that all the other emails were not even fully canvassed.
Yes.
And the state is not raising an issue with that.
Yes.
The state only raised an issue where a whole email
Yes.
was not touched at all and it's being handed up. If a document have 50 pages and we deal with 1 page, that is understandable, and that is what we did with the other emails.
Yes.
But where a document is just coming from Norway and then given to the court, having no page dealt with, it doesn't make sense.
Well, I think it's fine.
As a court
Mr.
basis.
Bierkas will deal with the issues.
I think we're on a treadmill syndrome. We are getting nowhere. My learned friend says he respects the court ruling, but then he still has a but afterwards, which then takes everything away. In essence, my Lord, the 5-6 pages that we just removed from that email, we dealt with the first page of that email. So now that email is incomplete because we had to remove page 2 to page 7. We dealt with all the emails. We did not maybe read in every specific page into the record. But we will briefly deal with this matter, my Lord.
Maybe let me just emphasize what I said. I fully understood your position, but I'm also saying that I do not know what is the reason they are being very particular about the pages that you left out. And that's why I indicated that probably if you want or you see that all the documents which are contained on this number are important, just go through them, all of them. That's the position. So if you feel the ones that we removed are also quite relevant or important, it's up to you as to whether you'll take them through to the witness or you simply omit them and they are not part of the file. Because he's saying that it appears they have reasons as to why they are being particular with what you omitted.
I understand, my Lord, and
Yes.
I am indebted to the court.
Thank you.
Mr. Hatuikulipi, let's go back to that email of the 2nd of March 2016.
Second March 2016.
2nd March 2016. It's the forwarded one with Mr. Stefansson was asking, Cinco is probably going into war with us. Please get us the right advisors. And it's where you testified that the issue that Cinco had issues with Joanna's not attending to matters that were discussed in the boardroom. Do you recall?
I recall, my lord.
At the bottom of that email, we are still on the same page. You already testified on this one, but just underneath that one, please take us through. What is that? It says here from Kathleen Naruses.
Yes.
Yes.
From Kathleen Naruses.
Yes.
Sent 2nd March 2016. To Joanna Stephenson. Carbon copied Justine. Copied David Ileka. Copied Sharon. Copied Naomi Kefas. Copied Virgilio. Copied, what's the other? Meamendo.
And info syncing. And then there's a subject matter, and then it starts Arctic NAM Fishing Pty, Wolfish Bay, Republic of Namibia. Attention Managing Director by email.
Correct.
Dear Sir, Cinco Fishing Pty Ltd. Stroke letters dated 2nd February 2016. Number 1, the above mentioned matter and your response to our letter dated 23 February 2016 refer. Herewith, we would wish to advise that the content of your email response referred to above was discussed at our monthly board meeting last night, being the 1st of March 2016, and the Cinco board has resolved that you refer the matter to the Arctic NAM board for due consideration. Let me just first stop there. Who was the managing director of Arctic NAM that time?
It's Joanna Stephenson, my lord.
And it appears that a Kathleen Naris sent this to Joanna's. Who is Kathleen?
The right holder.
She's a right holder. A right holder in JV2?
Correct, my lord.
Okay. So then she sent this letter. And if you go to number 5, can you please take us to number 5 and 6?
If you have thoroughly read our letter, you will note that the letter confirms serious breaches of contract committed by Arctic NAM. In light of the seriousness, therefore, we will appreciate it if you provide us with a response in the matter described above in paragraph 3, hereof within 15 days of receiving this letter. In addition to the above, we wish to remind your office that during the last board meeting held on the 28th of December 2015, the meeting was advised that the remainder of the profit share payment for 2015 will be settled in March 2016. After the audit was done, kindly advise if the audit is completed and when we can expect the aforementioned payment.
And then it says at the bottom, yours faithfully, and if you turn the page, let's also deal with the 3rd page that the state took issue with. What does it say there?
Which one, Malon?
The last page of that email.
The last one.
Yes.
You
You must just turn the page. We just read that last part. If you just turn to the next page.
Okay, Gavania.
Yes.
Investment and Nuco Fishing joint venture.
So they were CC'd.
They were CC'd, my lord.
And who's Kazania Investments?
Kazania, it's a Pango.
Epango.
Yeah, a Pango.
You
It was first a Pango and then it changed to a Pango. It's a shelf company. Kazania is a Pango.
Epango.
Yeah, it's a Pango fish, JV5.
Okay, JV5.
Yeah, JV5.
And Ucor is JV7. And Cinco, who wrote this letter, one of the members is JV2.
JV2, yes.
And just to recap, yesterday you testified that Arctic NAM is a joint venture company from the Samerji group of companies, Cinco, Ucor, and Ipango.
That's correct, my lord.
Okay. And why would Joanna's forward this letter that he received to you and say, please get the right advisors?
My Lord, I go to my agreement. It's part of my work to do. I advise the company. That's the reason why he sent me this. And because Johannes Stephenson, we've been advising him that he must do the things the right way. He doesn't listen. We continue damaging.
My Lord, this is the way I want to bring an objection. The testimony is being peddled to the court that Johannes was messing up, and this email is being used for reliance. This email refers to the board of Arctic NAM, not to the director of Arctic NAM or the MD of Arctic NAM. So this misinformation should not be peddled to the court, but I'll also deal with it in cross-examination. And that is my objection to this evidence.
My Lord, I'm a bit shocked by my learned friend. He's objecting to the witness explanation. If you are not in agreement with the explanation, you have your right of recourse during cross-examination. This is not the opportune moment for my learned friend to say that if he disagrees with the interpretation, then let him deal with it during cross-examination. That is the purpose of a cross-examination, is to extrapolate or to put his version to the witness. And the witness is just explaining why he received the email.
Yeah, that is the view. That is his evidence. That's how he's giving his evidence. You may just rather take your notes and you raise it up with him if they don't correlate what he's saying or is in respect to something else. But he is giving his evidence. Even if I see that something is amiss, that's his evidence, and you rather just take it up when you are cross-examining him.
I'm obliged, my Lord.
Thank you. Thank you.
As it pleases the court. My Lord, we then seek leave again for the thread of emails to be handed up and to be marked as an exhibit B16, if there is no objection from my learned friend for the state.
None, my Lord. No objections.
My Lord, is it possible for the parties to just have a brief adjournment, my Lord, before I deal with the new subject matter?
I'm not sure whether you are now in agreement that the entire, is it 19, can form part of the file and be marked as an exhibit.
It appears there's no objection, my Lord.
Thank you. Will that be, you said, exhibit B?
16, my Lord.
16.
16.
Thank you. It's exhibit B16. How long do you suggest we break?
10 minutes, my Lord. What? 30. My learned friend for the state is requesting 30 minutes.
You always want to put him on the spot.
My Lord, they may address the court. I'm happy with 10 minutes, but if we want to take issue with 30 minutes if they request for it.
I see it's 23 minutes to 12, I believe. So let's resume at 12 o'clock. I think that will be sufficient.
As it pleases the court.
We'll adjourn. Morning, Mr. Flip.
Mr. Hatuikulipi, how are you today?
Fine, thanks. How are you, my Lord?
Do you recall, I believe it was either Monday, yes, it was on Monday, that you testified concerning the income that you made from your fish shop across Namibia?
Yes, I do recall, my lord.
And you wanted to refer the court, or you referred the court to certain extracts from your bank statements.
That's correct, my lord.
My lord, we have provided the complete bank statements to the state, my lord. I also have a copy here for the court's convenience. I beg leave to provide court with a copy. And also one for the applicant. May I proceed, my lord?
Yes.
Mr. Hatuikulipi, I want us to just briefly deal with these bank statements. So in essence, what I would require you to do is, what I would ask you is to identify the document before you, firstly, and then we can turn the page and then we can go through the banking transactions in those particular bank statements. Is that okay with you?
Okay with me, my lord.
Okay. We can start off with the first page. Can you please identify that document for us?
My lord, this is a bank statement for JTH Trading CC for January 2019, my lord.
And what was the funds received into their account, into JTH's account for that month?
1.8 million 98,087.25 cents.
And if you can recall, from where do these funds come?
Lord, some of these funds come from my 5 trading fish shops.
And you previously testified that the fish shops are in, I can recall, 2 in Windhoek,
Correct?
1 in, is it Oshakati?
Correct?
Is there 1 in, and the other 2?
One in Ondangwa,
Ondangwa
Chicago.
and Oshikango. Now, how do these fish shops operate on a daily basis?
Repeat your question.
How do the fish shops operate on a daily basis? Do they sell the fish and the money that they get, or if they get any money, what do they do with it?
My Lord, they sell the fish daily, and money is paid by the clients by cash. Then the money gets deposited into the banking account of JTH Trading CC. Sorry.
And who would normally make these deposits into JTH Trading's banking account?
The employees, my Lord.
Now, I want us to go into or at least touch on a few particular transactions in that banking statement. Can you please turn the page? Page 2 of 5, and that is for January.
It's a second, my Lord.
Yes. My Lord, may I hand the applicant a ruler just for easier referencing?
I'm there, my Lord.
We can start off with the first one, 31 December, cash deposit. You can take us through that one and tell us for what that money is.
My Lord, it's not 31 December, it's 2nd January.
On the bank statement, on
Yeah.
top, the first one.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
Yes.
I'm there.
Okay.
My Lord, this is a deposit
Mhm.
from the fish shop from Chicago. Deposited by Ruth. Ruth is one of my employer, my Lord, from Chicago. An amount of 7,085 was deposited that day, my Lord.
You can now go to the 2nd of January.
My Lord, 2nd of January, it's a cash deposit from Angwena, from the fish shop from Chicago, deposited by Ruth, 19,550.
And if you go down to the 3rd of January, another cash deposit.
My Lord, the deposit from Chicago, deposited by Ruth, my employer, 14,385.
And just below that one,
My Lord, is a cash deposit from the fish shop in Vanaheda of 97,028, deposited by Toivo. Toivo, at Vanaheda, there are 3 businesses on one building. One is a liquor store, a fish shop, and a butchery. So Toivo work for a butchery there. So whenever they go deposit the money, because the owner of the butchery was in charge of the fish shop, so he always sent some of his worker to go deposit. So this is the deposit from the Vanaheda fish shop, 97,028. The same day, on the 3rd of January, the cash deposit from my worker, same for the fish shop of Ondangwa of 82,585.
and then we can go to the 4th of January.
4th of January, my Lord, the cash deposit from the Chicago fish shop to my employer Ruth, 11,660. The same day, the cash deposit from Toivo, 19,400.
For which fish shop is that?
The one in Ovanaenda,
Okay.
in Windhoek.
And then on the 5th of January,
5th of January, my Lord, the cash deposit from the fish shop of Vanaheda, 29,622. The same day, the cash deposit from the fish shop from Ondangwa, my employer, same, 18,520. The same day, the cash deposit from the Chicago fish shop, $11,007, Tamson.
and just briefly touch on the 7th and the 9th, and then we can move on to the next page.
My Lord, on the 7th of January, the cash deposit from the fish shop from Vanaheda, from Pendapala, of 44,615. The same day, the cash deposit from the fish shop from Oshikango of 8,875. The same day, oh, sorry. Okay, this one is done.
On the 8th?
On the 8th, my lord, the cash deposit from Vanaida Fish Shop of 13,640. The same day, the cash deposit from Oshikango Fish Shop of 12,355. The same day, the cash deposit from Ondangwa Fish Shop of 18,950.
You can skip the 9th and maybe just touch on the 10th and then we move to the next page.
I must skip the 9.
Yes, the cash deposits of the 9th. I think otherwise we will sit here the whole day. We have to go through every transaction.
Oh, then I'll skip to the, okay. But there is a deposit here on the 9th. From
Okay, take us through.
On the 9th of January, there's also a cash deposit from Ondangwa Fish Shop, 9,740. The same day, there's a cash deposit from Oshikango Fish Shop of 10,875.
On the 10th?
The 10th, the cash deposit from Ondangwa Fish Shop of 6,690. The same day, the cash deposit from Oshikango Fish Shop of 10,115. The same day, the cash deposit from the Vanaenda Fish Shop of 48,705.
Then if you turn the page, on 10 January, what is that ATM payment to, you can start off with that first payment.
Which one, my lord?
We are now on page 3 of 5. The page numbers are here at the bottom.
Yes, I'm there.
Yes. 3 of 5 on the 10th of January, ATM payment to,
Receiver of revenue
for what was that?
for VAT.
Okay. And then on the 10th of January, can you take us through that payment?
You mean the second one or the third one?
The third one.
My lord, it's a payment from JTH Trading to Carry Investment for the fish that I bought from Semeji of 344,645 and 69 cents.
So is this what you testified earlier, where you would say you would buy the fish from the Samerji group of companies and then you would sell it?
Correct, my lord.
And what you took us now through is, would your employees then, on a daily basis, as they are selling the fish, deposit these amounts into the account of JTH Trading?
That's correct, my lord.
Now, there's a number of cash deposits. If we go to the 11th, the 12th, the 14th, 16th, and 18th, just on that particular page. And it lists cash deposits. It lists them all as cash deposits. And it's the same names: Ruth, Toivo, Sam, Toivo, Ruth, Penda, Ruth, Toivo. And some of the amounts vary from 34,400, 33,255, 34,285, 53,125, and 27,000 and 31,000. Just some of those amounts. What are those amounts that were deposited into the account?
From the sales of fish, my lord. From the fish shops, my lord.
And I don't want to labor this point. I think we can move on from the bank statements of January and then we can go to those ones of February. Now, Mr. Hatuikulipi, I want you to be very brief when it comes to the bank statements because there are quite a number of them that we have to go through. And I don't want us to highlight each and every single payment, but you can just identify the document and just briefly highlight for us a few transactions where cash deposits were made by your employees into the bank account, if any, and also if you've made any payments to the Samerji group of company for the purchase of fish. that okay with you?
So repeat your question, my lord.
As we are going through the statements, in order for us to save a bit of time and not to extensively go to each and every transaction in your banking statements, I just briefly want you to highlight what is the document. You just identify it. You then go into the banking transactions. You just highlight a few transactions where cash deposits were made and payments that were possibly made to the Samergy group of companies for the fish.
Okay, my lord.
So we can just lay the foundation and then move along from these bank statements.
Okay, my lord.
Okay. So we are now at the second set for February 2019. You can take us through.
My lord, this is a bank statement of JTH Trading for February 2019. Funds received was 1.8 million, 52,878.60 cents. On the 1st of February, there was a cash deposit from the Ndangwa Fish Shop, 13,250. That same day, there was still a cash deposit from a Chicago Fish Shop, 10,475. That same day, there was also a cash deposit from Vanaeda Fish Shop of 32,745. You go to the 4th of February, JTH made payment to Carry Investment, the major subsidiary, 296,899.18 cents. We go on the 6th of February, there was a cash deposit from the Chicago Fish Shop of 12,180.
You turn the page and then you take us from the 9th. Just touch on one or two transactions.
The 9th.
On the 9th of Feb, or let's say the 11th of February. The following page.
11th. Huh? The cash deposit from Ndangwa Fish Shop, 24,517.65 cents. Vanaeda Fish Shop, 78,148. Angwena Chicago Fish Shop, was 5,783.
And these cash deposits were they then made throughout the course of the month of February as well?
Correct, my lord.
Okay. We can then move over to the month of March. And then you just also identify for us the statement and briefly take us, just highlight one or two transactions.
Okay. My lord, this is a bank statement of JTH Trading for March 2019. Funds received 5.2 million, 31,563.25 cents. Second of March was a cash deposit from Ndangwa Fish Shop of 21,570. Same day, there was a cash deposit from a Chicago Fish Shop, 19,270. Same day, it's a cash deposit from Vanaeda Fish Shop of 49,010 cents. On the 4th of March, there was a payment from JTH Trading to Semeji, Carry Investment, 340,929.
Were there further deposits made, cash deposits made from the sale of fish throughout the course of that month?
Repeat your
Were
question.
there further cash deposits made from the sale of fish throughout the course of that month?
Yes, on the 6th of March, there was a cash deposit from a Chicago fish shop of 12,310. The same day, Ndangwa fish shop 8,430.
Okay. I think we need not deal with the entire month. Let's move on to the next month. 30 April 2019. You can take us through.
My Lord, this is a bank statement of JTH Trading for for the month of April 2019. The 1st of April, there's a deposit from myself for the fish shop for Kuriangava, 32,766. The same day, there was a cash deposit from Vanaenda fish shop of 29,165. Same day, there was a cash deposit from Oshikango fish shop, 10,245. The same day, there was a cash deposit from Ondangwa fish shop of 6,263.
Let's go to the next page. Identify just one or two transactions for us on that page.
On the 9th of April, cash deposit from Vanaeda fish shop. On the 15th of April, there was a cash deposit from Okuriangava fish shops deposited by myself of 41,205 and 5 cents. That same day, 15th, there was a cash deposit from our Chicago fish shop of 3,460. That same day, on the 15th of April, JTH Trading made payment to Semeji Group, carry investment of 329,999.40 cents.
Does that continue throughout the course of the month, the cash deposits and payments to the Samerji Group of companies, carry investments?
That's correct, my lord.
Let's move on to the next statement. May.
My lord, this is the bank statement of JTH Trading CC for the month of May 2019. Fund received 1.9 million, 53,490.90 cents.
And then you can identify for us transactions on the 2nd of May and then perhaps the 3rd of May. Cash deposits, if any.
2nd of May, the cash deposit from the Vanaida fish shop, 38,036.30 cents. That same day, there was a cash deposit from a Chicago fish shop of 15,605. That same day, there was a payment from JTH Trading to Semeji, carry investment, 151,855.20 cents. On the 3rd of May, there was a cash deposit from Okuriangava fish shop, 49,501 deposit by myself. Same day, cash deposit from Oshikango, 6,000. Same day, Ondangwa fish shop, 7,406.70 cents. Same day, Badaida Fish Shop, 17,220. Same day, Badaida Fish Shop, 37,740.
Which days are those now?
6th of May.
6th of May.
Yes, sorry, man.
Okay, we can skip the next page and then just touch one or two transactions on the 15th of May.
15th of May.
15th May.
15th of May, cash deposit from Shakati Fish Shop, 51,620. Same day, cash deposit, Shakati Fish Shop, 15,070 cents. Same day, cash deposit, Shakati Fish Shop, 1,125. Same day, cash deposit, Kango Fish Shop, 5,810. Same day, cash deposit, Badaida Fish Shop, 8,875.
Okay, I think we get the point for the month of May. Let's move to June.
Lord, this is a bank statement of JTH Trading CC for the month of June 2019. Fund received 1.7 million, 35,111 and 45 cents.
And if you go to the 4th of June, what is the first payment then? 4th of June, just identify that one for us.
4th of June is VAT payment to the receiver of revenue of 144,429.47 cents.
And then we can skip most of the transactions and then just briefly deal with the 8th of June, some of those cash deposits.
8th of June, cash deposit for Kuriangaba Fish Shop made by myself of 41,875. Same day, cash deposit from Dangwa Fish Shop, 29,370. Same day, cash deposit of Shakati Fish Shop, 47,795. Same day, cash deposit for Chicago Fish Shop, 15,825.
Let's move to July 2019.
A lot. Can I have water? Thank you, my lord. My lord.
What document is this?
Which month did you say?
July 2019.
July. Okay. My lord, this is a bank statement of JTH Trading CC for the month of July 2019. Fund received 1.1 million 95,543.30 cents.
And that amount, the credits that have been received into that bank account, in respect of what does it relate? Just briefly.
Excuse me?
The amount received into the account of JTH Trading, that 1.1 million for that month of July 2019. In respect of what were those funds received?
Selling of the fish?
Selling of the fish.
Correct.
And are those reflected in the bank statements for that month?
Yes, they are. A lot.
Okay. I think we can then move on. This will save us much more time.
Yeah.
And the one for August 2019.
No, my lords, can we just go back to the one for July?
Okay.
On the 8th of July, JTH Trading made payment to Semeji Group, carry investment, 321,760.80 cents. That same day, JTH made another payment to Semeji Group, carry investment of 325,703. That same day, my lord, the 8th of July, JTH Trading made payment to Semeji Group of Company, carry investment, 367,804.80 cents. Okay, now we can move, my lord.
And those payments were for?
The fish that I bought from Semeji Group of Company, my lord.
Okay. Then we are at August 2019.
My lord, this is a bank statement of JTH Trading CC for the month of August 2019. Funds received 3.6 million, 96,629.19 cents.
And for that month, did you receive any funds from the sale of fish?
Yes, my lord.
Okay. We can then move to the month of I'm sorry, and those amounts, just to not to go into detail into those pages, there's a page 2 to page 7 for the month of August. Are those cash deposits reflected there?
Yes, they are, my lord.
Okay. Let's go to September.
September.
We just finished August, I believe. September.
My lord, it's a banking statement from JTH Trading for the month of September 2019. Funds received 2.9 million, 38,486.52 cents.
And of that amount, were there any amounts received for the sale of fish for that month?
Correct, my lord.
Now, those reflected in page 2 to 6 of those bank statements. Sorry?
Repeat
There
your
yes.
question? Repeat your question.
The cash deposit that you're saying for the selling of the fish that you've received, are they reflected in page 2 to 6 of the bank statements for that month?
Yes, they are, my lord.
Okay. Then we can go to the last month.
My lord, the bank statement of JTH Trading CC for the month of October 2019. Funds received 1.7 million, 97,813.40 cents.
Mr. Hatuikulipi, you testified that you were arrested in November 2019.
That's correct, my lord.
So, and these statements were just a month before your arrest.
Correct, my lord.
Let's just briefly touch and see what amounts of money the fish shops made just prior to your arrest. When we go to the 7th of October.
7
October.
I'm there, my lord.
You just briefly touch on 7 and 8 October.
The cash deposit from a Shakati fish shop, 22,535. Same day, cash deposit, Ndangwa fish shop, 51,943.20 cents. Same day, cash deposit, Shikango fish shop, 12,805. Same day, cash deposit from Vanaeda, 19,280. Same day, cash deposit, Kuriangava fish shop, $161,011.40. I continue?
Yes.
On the 8th of October, cash deposit from a Shakati fish shop of 38,380. Same day, Chicago fish shop, 23,265. Same day, Dangwa fish shop, 25,365.
And does it go on like that for the rest of the month?
Correct, my lord.
And you earlier testified, Mr. Hatuikulipi, and when I say earlier, I believe it was on Monday, where you indicated to the Honorable Court that during the month of January to November 2019, just during that period, until prior to your arrest, how much money did you make from the fish shops?
My lord, like what I said, I was not certain which amount should be 20 or less than 20 million there. Should be there. I did not get time to put them together.
But that's an estimate.
Estimate, yeah.
Okay.
Should be there.
But you also testified that the total amount for the monies that JTH made for that period, January until, I believe it's October 2019, was 28 million.
That's correct, my lord.
And when you were taking us through your bank statements now, it would appear that on a daily basis, that there are large amounts that are being deposited into the account of JTH Trading.
That's correct, my lord.
Was it a lucrative business?
Yes, it was, my lord.
How does one open a fish shop? I think I should change my trade.
No, I cannot give my secret away, my lord. At least now that people will know. You will see a lot of fish shops being opened now, my lord.
I mean, certainly, Mr. Hatuikulipi, if you can deposit 50, 60, 80, various amounts in one day, but it's quite impressive. My lord, if there's no objection, I beg leave to hand up the bank statements of JTH Trading for the period January 2019 to October 2019, to be marked as Exhibit B23.
Is it not going to be D? I
We can
remember
make it D, yes, the bundle is the, yes, my lord.
B, and
Yes.
there was C. I'm not sure what was Exhibit C.
Unless we replace these ones, my lord, put them under that number, because those documents are now just there in the bundle.
Which documents?
The, sorry, just... My lord, we have already provided the bank statements, and they appear under bundle
Oh,
number 18.
okay.
And we can remove those documents under bundle number 18, and then we can insert these bank statements there, because it's the same, they are just now complete.
All right. Will that be in order, Mr. Ipinga?
Yes, my lord.
Thank you. So it will be B 23.
23, my lord.
Yeah. Exhibit B 23. Yes, Mr. Big.
Yes, thank you, my lord. Mr. Hatuikulipi, before we move on and deal with the fish core matter, I just want to backtrack a bit to an aspect that you testified on Monday. During your testimony, you've indicated that this. Sorry? Sorry, my lord. Monday I was in an event booked off sick. I believe that should have been Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday. So on Wednesday, you testified that the state made use of experts and they consulted experts, and you also referred to auditors.
Correct, my lord.
Do you recall who these auditors were that the state used? Deloitte. And did any of the personnel of Deloitte contact you to give your input in respect of that specific audit report?
No, my lord.
So there was no input from your side?
There was nothing, my lord.
Were you contacted or were you contacted by them?
No, my lord.
Okay. I think we can now move on and then deal with the matter of Fishrot. Do you have your summary of dispute there with you? A summary of substantial facts. My apologies.
Okay, sorry. Just a second, my lord.
That on 1 May 2014, Mr. Bernhard Esau, the erstwhile Minister of Fisheries and Marine Resources, acting with a common purpose with his co-accused, devised a scheme in terms of which they would benefit from fishing quotas awarded to the National Fishing Corporation of Namibia, Fishkor, by the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources. In furtherance of this scheme, Mr. Esau appointed Mr. James Hatuikulipi as the Director and Chairperson of the National Fishing Corporation of Namibia, Fishkor, Board of Directors. Mr. James Hatuikulipi is a cousin to Mr. Tamson Fitty Hatuikulipi, who is Mr. Bernhard Esau's son-in-law. Mr. Bernhard Esau further nominated Mike Kipunya to be seconded to the Seaflower Group, and thereafter on 9 May 2014, accused one, I believe is Mr. Ricardo Gustavo. No. Accused one is Mr. Mike Kipunya. He was appointed as the caretaker and or acting chief executive officer, CEO of Fishkor, a position which he subsequently filled as the CEO. State further alleges that on 20 January 2015, the court ruled that the minister's decision to allocate, this is now the High Court, to allocate quotas to entities which do not hold rights to harvest the specific marine resources in question, i.e. horse mackerel, with the exception of the trust, is invalid. The court's decision resulted in a further scheme by the accused to amend the provisions of the Marine Resources Act 27 of 2000, MRA, in order to benefit from fishing quotas, and this subsequently resulted in the promulgation of the Marine Resources Amendment Act 9 of 2015 on 24 September 2015, which contains amendments that made it possible for the Minister of Fisheries to award fishing quotas to non-right holders. Now, the state further alleges that the entity that was designated by the minister was Fishkor, and resultantly, the Ministry of Fisheries allocated 474,053.41 horse mackerel quotas to Fishkor during the period 2014 to 2019. And that Fishkor in turn entered into usage agreement or usage fee agreements with the Samherji group of companies, and then they referred to Escha Fishing, Maria Seafood, Curry Investments, Saga Seafood, wherein Fishkor sold 228,000 metric tons of horse mackerel and funds totaling 81,880,500 earmarked for governmental objectives, which was for the public interest, but they were paid to some Samherji Group and Fishkor to the law firm of the Clerk and Kutsia Incorporated, and that the funds were then from there further paid out to you and some of your co-accused and some of the entities and your entities. Do you understand what the state is alleging against you?
Yes, I do, my lord.
Okay. And how do you intend to plead in respect of this Fishkor matter, or at least the charges relating to Fishkor?
Not guilty, my lord.
Now, Mr. Hatuikulipi, I will ask you a sequence of questions relating to what the state is in essence alleging. Firstly, they are saying that there was a scheme devised and that you acted in common purpose. And this common purpose was for the Marine Resources Act to be amended. Were you part of such a scheme?
No, my lord. I was not part of such a scheme.
Do you know when specifically the Marine Resources Act was amended?
I don't, my lord.
Do you know which sections of the Marine Resources Act was amended?
No, my lord, I don't.
Were you ever involved in any discussions with Mr. Bernhard Esau, your father-in-law, or the other co-accused, relating to the Marine Resources Act, how this act can be amended, and how fishing quotas can be awarded to Fishkor?
No, my lord.
And at that point in time, were you a government official during May 2014, 15, 16?
My lord, I'm not a government official, and I was never a government official.
And do you have any say in terms of how the law would be amended? How legislation that goes through Parliament can be amended? Do you have any say in that?
No, my lord. Not at my level, my lord.
In governmental objectives, the state is referring to governmental objectives that the quotas that had to go to Fishkor was for governmental objectives. Do you know what governmental objectives are?
No, my lord. Don't know what is a governmental objective.
And do you know of any catching agreements that were concluded between Fishkor and the Samherji group of companies?
No, my lord. I'm not aware of that catching agreement between Samherji and Fishkor.
You earlier testified that you were a consultant. Any of your consultancy work relate to setting up or negotiating an agreement between Samherji and Fishkor?
No, my lord. So I have testified that I was only involved in 3 catching agreements. JV2, Cinco, JV5, Epango, and JV7, Yuko. Those were the only catching agreements I was involved.
And were you ever involved in any discussion that Mr. James Hatuikulipi should be appointed as the chairperson of the board of Fishkor?
No, my lord. I was not.
Did you know that Mr. Mike Kipunya would be appointed as the CEO of Fishrot?
No, my lord.
Were you involved in his appointment, or was it even discussed with you?
No, my lord.
But the state are making all these allegations that you acted in common purpose. What do you have to say about that?
Lord, I did not act in common purpose with anyone, my lord. I'm not a government employee, because they are talking about Fishco. Fishco is a government company. They're talking about Ministry of Fisheries amendment. Those have to deal, those are things that need to deal with the Ministry of Fisheries. My lord, I am a businessman. I'm not a government employee. So there is no way I can be involved in such discussion, my lord. And I was nowhere in the meeting to influence any decision of the government, my lord.
And with regards to payments that were made by Fishkor or the Samerji group of companies to a company called DHC, a law firm called DHC, the Klerkhorn, are you aware of any payments that was made to them from Fishkor or the Samerji group of companies?
I was not aware, my lord.
And any payments to Silax, a company, a close corporation called Silax Investments?
Repeat your question.
Are you aware of the existence of a company called Silax Investments?
I came to become aware of it now, my lord.
Were you involved in the setting up of this particular entity, Silax?
My lord, I didn't know Silax, and I was not involved in setting up Silax.
But now what the state is further alleging, Mr. Hatuikulipi, is that you received payments, you or your entities received payments from Silax and DHC. Have you received any payments from them that you are aware of?
My lord, I received payments from those two entities.
And for what were those payments that you've received?
Repeat your question.
For what were the payments? You said you received them. Why did you receive payments from those entities?
My lord, as I have testified yesterday, there have been loans transactions between myself and James Hatuikulipi. So in paying back the loans to me, I received funds from the entity called Silax and GHC, my lord.
And when you received these payments, could you see in your bank statements that these were clearly marked from Silax and or DHC?
My lord, some they reflect as Silax and DHC. But when I went through the disclosure, in my previous bail application, I've explained this, then they say I received more funds. So when I went through the same amount that they said that I have received more, it does not reflect as Silax. It reflects as James, my lord. So I will not know that that money is coming from Silax or DHC, my lord. That's why I said I'm here to be released on bail, so that I can get all the documents and prove during my trial all the loans and repayments of loans and the payment that I made to James for assisting me. So during the trial, once I have all my things in order, once I got an audit that will come do all my things, during the trial, I will explain each and every transaction. That this was for the loan, this is the money that was refunded. So I'll do that during the trial, my lord.
Are you saying that these two entities, Silax and Bilax, belong to James?
My lord, I did not find it strange when this money was paid from Silax. I thought the whole time these were entities owned by James, my lord. Because James is having a lot of companies with weird names. He's even having a company called Earth 1908 Quisebmund. You might think it's a residential address for a house, but it's a company. So I thought he was the owner of those companies, my lord.
So let's just recap.
Sorry.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong. So what you're telling the court is, yes, that you received payments from these two entities. Some of the payments that you've received reflects CLAX and DHC.
Correct, my lord.
Some of the payments do not reflect the name of these entities. They only reflect James.
Correct, my lord.
Okay. So those payments that only reflect James, could you decipher or identify that they came from CLAX or from DHC?
I cannot, my lord.
And that is basically what you are saying you want your auditor to do this reconciliation for you.
That's correct, my lord.
And you would be able to explain this adequately and in detail with the assistance of this auditor at trial.
That's correct, my lord.
Okay. You've indicated in your affidavit, do you have your affidavit that you filed in the initial bail application?
Just a second, my lord.
Do you have your affidavit then?
It's with me, my lord.
That would be page 26 of your affidavit.
26.
26, 409 of the record. Page 409 of the record.
I'm there, my lord.
Just give the court an opportunity.
Okay, my lord.
Are you there at paragraph 95?
I'm there, my lord.
Yes. There you've indicated that I do not know who owns CLAX Investments or DHC Incorporated. I want us to clarify this point before we get to cross-examination. When you now just briefly testified, you said you thought that these companies could have belonged to James.
Correct, my lord.
How do you reconcile that then with when you are saying that you do not know who owned them?
What I'm saying now, I don't know who owned them. When I was being charged at the correctional facility, that time I was already arrested. So I was called by the ACC officials that I must go to the board room. So when I went there, they told me they came there to charge me on Fishco. And I asked them, what about Fishco? They said you receive funds from Fishco. Then I asked him, what funds? Then they said, okay, maybe it's from CLAX or DHC. CLAX, DHC. I said, okay, how much? Then they say, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million. They were just doing like that. So I was charged. Mr. Florian was also present. So I was now wondering, CLAX and DHC. That's why I'm now saying I didn't know who owned it. But payment was paid from CLAX. But the whole time I thought it was James' company. But now when I was being charged, when this whole story came out, Silax and DHC belongs to Maren de Klerk. And I don't know who Maren de Klerk is, my lord.
Have you ever met with Mr. Maren de Klerk?
No, my lord.
Okay. Now, at paragraph 97 and 98, you, in essence, informed the lower courts that time that James instructed Silax Investments to pay 1 million to your CC JTH Trading and a further 1 million to Irongo Clearing Forwarding CC. You see that?
I see.
Do you still stand by this version that you have informed the court that those payments you are aware of?
Yes, my lord.
But what you are saying, this is only in respect of a 2 million. I think it's about 4 million. It's in respect of a 4 million.
Which one, no?
You said Silax paid you a 1 million to JTH and 1 million to Irongo Clearing. That's
Correct.
2 million.
Correct.
Then at 98, you referred to DHC having paid one of your companies or JTH Trading 2 million.
Correct.
So that's a 4 million.
Correct.
You see.
Correct.
Now the state is alleging that you actually received more than this 4 million from Silax and DHC. Are those the payments that you said you could not identify?
Repeat your question again.
The state is alleging that you received more than 4 million from Silax and DHC. Are you aware that you've received more than that from those companies?
Which companies are DHC?
DHC and Silax.
That's why, my lord, I'm saying, when I went through one statement, the amount that they are talking about in the disclosure, it reflects as James. It does not reflect as DHC or Silax, my lord.
And if it does not reflect that DHC or Silax, would you have known?
Not at all, my lord. Sorry.
Is there anything else that you would want to add on the Fishcore matter?
My lord, I'm not a government employee. I'm not involved in the management of Fishco. I had no dealings with Fishco. I had no dealing with Silax. I had no dealing with DHC, my lord. And I don't know Maren de Klerk.
Thank you, Mr. Hatuikulipi. We can move on to the last new fact upon which you rely for bail. My Lord, I think before we move on to a new aspect, I think it's 11:15 now. It's an opportune moment, my Lord, to have the tea break. Then we can reconvene it. You'll make it 20 minutes, my Lord. Or 15. Perfect, my Lord. Thank you, please.
Yes, Mr. Bierkas.
Yes, my Lord. Prior to or during the break, my Lord, the parties, while meeting in chambers, agreed that the matter then be remanded, my Lord, for continuation until the 23rd of August 2022, and that the matter will then be set down from the 23rd of August until the 2nd of September 22 for continuation and hopefully finalization of this bail application. As it please the court.
Thank you.
Indeed, my lord, those are the dates agreed upon. May the matter be remanded there too.
Thank you. Is then ordered that the matter is postponed to 23 August 2022 at 10 o'clock for bail application. The matter is scheduled to continue until the 2nd of September 2022. The applicant is remanded in custody.
Mr. Court, please.
As it please the court.
Ola John.